The municipal election is coming up in May. 15 people have filed to be on that ballot for Amarillo City Council. KAMR Local 4 News has discovered one candidate in place 4. Leif Kertis was sentenced by a judge after he pleaded guilty to theft of tens of thousands of dollars from his employer, a church, in 2018. Records show Kertis successfully completed deferred adjudication. The case was dismissed, and he has not been convicted of a felony. KAMR Local 4's Princess Bryan investigates. We are your local election headquarters.
Leif Kertis is a candidate for Amarillo City Council Place 4. According to the Potter County plea memorandum, Kertis in 2018 entered a guilty plea in Potter County's 251st District Court on charges that he had stolen money from First Christian Church in Amarillo, where he was the Director of Administration and Finance, a Securities and Exchange Commission report says.
It was an unfortunate case where I trusted somebody at their word. I didn't get contracts signed appropriately. I take full responsibility and accountability for my part in that. And I've learned from that. If anything, I can be a testament to God's redemption, giving second chances and whatnot.
This is a third-degree felony for theft of property of an amount of $30,000 or more, but less than $150,000. Kertis had to pay more than $37,000 in restitution to the church and serve a probationary period to successfully complete deferred adjudication, court records state.
I was not ordered restitution, no. They're like, hey, like you weren't supposed to have that. It was, okay, here, have it back. I'll pay it back, 100%. Like I said, I didn't cross T's, I didn't dot I's. That's why there was no conviction. That's why charges were ultimately dismissed.
The complaint filed by 47th Assistant District Attorney in 2018 says Kertis stole the money from First Christian Church from May 2015 through February 2017. In the complaint, the pastor of that church at the time is listed as the owner of the property and the victim. The church located at 3001 Woodland Avenue has services Sunday mornings at 10. Kertis served the church for a little more than 2 years, according to the SEC report.
I'm holding myself accountable to that. Whether it's against a church or whether it's against just an individual taxpayer, it shouldn't happen regardless, which is why I've made the changes, which is to make sure that something like this doesn't happen to me again, and it won't happen to them either.
We reached out to the church for comment. They declined. Kertis entered his guilty plea on June 28, 2018.
I think anybody who has anything in the legal world knows that there's a big difference in pleading guilty versus being guilty. Now, again, I've never taken granted my accountability in the aspect of it, but there was no malice in what I did. It was not something that I did to try and gain anything. In
accepting his guilty plea on July 11, 2018, 251st District Judge Anna Estevez put Kertis on deferred adjudication for 2 years and ordered him to pay a $625 fine and the full $37,741.19 in restitution. She also placed Kertis on community supervision. Some of the conditions from that probation included no contact with the victim, electronic monitoring, and no alcohol.
Charges were ultimately dismissed. Even after being placed on deferred, being placed on probation, I was even let off early, which rarely happens in any cases really in Potter County.
I talked with Amarillo attorney Kevin Eastern, who was not involved in this case, but agreed to review these documents.
In Texas, if you're charged with a criminal offense and you receive what's called deferred adjudication, that is, the court does not find you guilty and put you on a specific type of probation. And once you complete all the terms of the probation, the reward for doing that is you don't have a conviction.
At the time of his plea, Kertis also was working at an Amarillo branch of the investment firm Edward Jones as a financial advisor, a Securities and Exchange Commission report stated. About 3 weeks after Estevez's ruling on July 30th, he was fired. Quote, Mr. Kertis failed to timely report a charge and guilty plea for felony theft, end quote, the SEC report says.
The reason for the termination, again, was because of the matter of the crime.
Okay.
My lawyer let them know as soon as they were told, or as soon as we knew. So, yeah, it was just because of the U5. But like I said, I'm reinstated. I can go back and work for any financial services company that I want to work for now.
In March of 2020, the judge terminated his deferred adjudication a few months early, court records show. It says, quote, the ends of justice have been served, end quote.
So absolutely, people deserve a second chance.
And another layer to that, do you think people in a position of power deserve that same grace as well?
Yeah, we're all redeemed, right?
In Amarillo, Princess Bryant, KAMR Local 4 News.
Kertis is one of 3 candidates on the May 3rd ballot for Amarillo City Council Place 4, along with incumbent Les Simpson and Sylvia Stevens. KAMR Local 4 News found no criminal records for Kertis's opponents or any other candidate for Amarillo Mayor or City Council this go around. Now, we have documents related to Kertis's case at myhighplains.com. There we also have our complete interview with Kertis, where he talks about this case and why he wants to be your city council member.